I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, and I'm delighted to be here with my special guest, Barbara May Clark, who we call Babs. And she's a minister with Awakenings Institute and so much more. She'll be telling you a little bit about herself today. We're both also spiritual coaches, healers, and guides who love to reach into the vast realms of spirit to enrich our lives and to open to more love and light for our troubled world. So we're very happy, both of us, I believe, are very happy to be here. Also, we're going to be reflecting on something that I think is of great importance and meaning to Babs in particular, and certainly for all of us who are on this journey, which is gratitude, and with that, the blessings of November, to keep it seasonal. So here in the United States and in the Northern Hemisphere, we're approaching the end of a growth cycle and a time for harvest, really the end of the harvest. And I think we have to look at it as more than physical crops. We're also harvesting our crops of what we have put into our realities this year. So that'll be interesting. It's also with Thanksgiving coming in the United States. I know we've already had it in Canada. So wherever we are with that, it's a time when we focus on the many blessings in our lives, which I think is so important, really, to me every day. And it is gratitude, or the lack of gratitude, is the powerful force in all of our lives. And we're going to discuss the benefits of gratitude, also a cure for challenging times when it isn't easy to be thankful. And I think that happens to all of us for various reasons, and certainly is worthy of discussion. So we'll have an oracle reading to support us in nurturing our spirits, and also a special meditation, which the meditations create themselves as we go along. But we'll be embracing the blessings of the season and opening to really inspiring and exciting ourselves about who we are and what we're doing with our lives. So, as always, I want to thank you for being here and being such a blessing to the world. I think God only knows we need it, and especially I think we're seeing it right now. That there's such a need for love and hope. So again, thank you for being here, and please say hello if you're here with us live. We also appreciate your presence if you're here anytime, because we're together adding to the collective energy of this experience of gratitude that we're celebrating. And if you're new, please tell us where you're from, and let us know if you have any comments, any questions. We really love hearing from you, and I am keeping track. I have my dashboard here with, in fact, I see Nikki here who says good morning. And thank you for being with us. And from here, the one thing I like to do before we start, I have my eyes closed already. If you can close your eyes and feel guided to just to take a moment and breathe in blessings. We can breathe in, we could always choose to breathe in whatever is the most appropriate and beneficial energy in any moment. And so we can breathe in the blessings of gratitude and love and light, miracles, whatever feels enlightening to you. Just breathing in the perfect light and exhaling anything you don't need now, tension, any discordant energy you sense around you or in your body. Just a few beautiful breaths to bring ourselves together in the moment with this common goal of celebrating gratitude in the month of November. And of course, with me, I have my beautiful buddy, my dog Buddy, who loves love. So he shows up a lot during the circle. So from here, Babs, I'd like to turn to you and ask you to start us out and share a bit about your perspective on gratitude.
Sure, thanks. And thanks for having me. And hello to everybody who's coming or who will see us at another time. because we're always in this moment of now. So whatever that moment is now for you. So gratitude, it's been a huge, huge part of my journey. Um, probably about 15 years ago started on I've always been spiritual my whole life, even as a little girl. But about 15 years ago, I really started on an intentional journey because I had suffered a lot from anxiety and depression during that period of my life, and even as a younger person, there were moments of anxiety, but gratitude is what really, really helped get me out of a couple of my really serious funks.
Hmm.
And what I realized is that it was a sense of being grateful for even the smallest little thing, like little buddy, he's so cute.
So loving.
Yes. So like there's this moment, probably in the beginning of that 15 year, it was actually even before that, I was probably more close to 17 years ago, but I was sort of really, really deep depression. And I remember just walking around a neighborhood and there was this tiny little flower that was growing in the sidewalk, and this kind of like this little light bulb went on. It's like it went on and it said, I can walk by that flower and just keep on doing the same thing that I'm doing, or I could be grateful for that
Mm,
flower.
wow.
Um, I mean, it wasn't a thought of my own. It was just, I think, like spirit coming in, like providing me an opportunity.
Right.
I'm sure there had been many opportunities before, but I just didn't hear it or whatever.
Hmm.
But what that does, it opened my spirit to something outside of my own self, outside of my own head,
Right.
outside of all the stuff going on, recognizing that there is that source beyond myself that that is providing so many beautiful, beautiful things in my life. Um,
Hmm.
that was the first super profound moment of gratitude. Another one came probably like 5, 6 years after that, where it was again the same offering. Like I can choose to be grateful, or I can just keep on in the same slog that I was in,
Right.
And that time it was for my comforter. And I was just
Yeah.
honestly grateful for a warm comforter that somebody had given me that loved me. Um, and since then it's just this ongoing practice of when I choose gratitude, because it is a conscious choice.
Right.
When I choose gratitude, I find that life opens up so much bigger. When I'm not in gratitude, it's much smaller, narrower kind of life, at least for me. Oh, is that Foxy? Oh no, buddy just turned
No.
around.
Yeah. Just situating him.
Yeah. So it's just yeah, that choice of gratitude, the choice of being grateful to a source greater than myself. Yeah, I guess it just connects me to that source that is greater than myself,
Hmm.
and just allows me to see the beauty in life, choosing to
Right.
look for the good,
Hmm.
versus looking for the bad. Because
Hmm.
there's always good to be found. At least that's what
Right.
I've found in my life. Even in difficult, difficult times, I've found um, there is that beauty, and gratitude connects me with that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. And I think I don't know if this exactly applies to your situation, but I know in working with so many people over the years, it's not uncommon for people to say that they're in a slump because they feel that they've been abandoned by God.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that applies to you or if it just was you mentioned kind of returning to source, if it just was a lot. I forgot. I forgot
Yeah.
about all this stuff.
Yeah, I think it was more I was so overwhelmed with the noise in my own head. I knew source was always there, but I also had to, over this journey, I had to re reimagine, rediscover, maybe is a better word, source, or the way that I define that, because I had been carrying a lot of religious
Hmm.
opinions and
Right.
views about who source was, what God was, whatever, all of those, whatever you want to term that.
Right. And
I
I'm not sure we can.
Yes.
fully understand.
No, no, and if we can, then I don't think it is. If it's something that I can intellectually as a human
Right.
being
We have
understand,
to have some
then I
perspective
think we
on
need to move a little bigger.
it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So but I had come from a fairly strict upbringing, where it was a very punitive kind of relationship with
Hmm.
the creator.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
we weren't
Yeah.
perfect. So, so I had to
Yeah.
rework some of this, but those little moments of gratitude helped me to move beyond, some of those limiting beliefs I used to have.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. It's interesting also. Oh, I do want to mention Sharon's here. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
um, we have this illusion that we're separate.
Mhm.
And I think it wasn't that long ago. I can't remember how long. It's been some years now, but it wasn't like something I understood completely decades ago, which now it kind of surprises me when I think about it. But the idea that we're separate, it is completely an illusion. There is never a separation. It's all in our heads that there's a separation. And somehow I hadn't fully understood that as a reality, that it's not actually at all that that separation exists and we have to somehow battle our way through it. It's just all we have to battle technically is those thoughts that are preventing us from just allowing it. And I think that's something that gratitude does, is it just allows us to have a more expansive view of things.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's what you were saying too, is looking outside of this little, world of me
Yes.
and see, wow, there is so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
it's beautiful.
yeah.
um I Years and years ago, um it looks like actually in 2002, uh in our newsletter, uh we wrote often in the fall about gratitude, and someone replied to our discussion on gratitude with, I don't know if you'd call it a poem or a prayer, but I think it's a beautiful, you could say again, I mentioned in the description, cure cure for, if you are not feeling gratitude. And I'd like to read that because I think it's really profound. As I mentioned, this is from around 2000. So it states statistics, which may not be completely accurate at this point, but it doesn't really matter. So it says, loved ones, if you woke up this morning with more health than illness, you are more blessed than the million who will not survive this week. If you have never experienced the danger of battle, the loneliness of imprisonment, the agony of torture, or the pangs of starvation, you're ahead of 500 million people in the world. If you can attend a church meeting without fear of harassment, arrest, torture, or death, you are more blessed than 3 billion people in the world. If you have food in your refrigerator, clothes on your back, a roof overhead, and a place to sleep, you're richer than 75% of this world. If you have money in the bank, in your wallet, and spare change in a dish somewhere, you're among the top 8% of the world's wealthy. If your parents are still alive and still married, you are very rare, even in the United States. If you hold up your head with a smile on your face and are truly thankful, you are blessed because the majority can, but most do not. If you hold someone's hand, hug them, or even touch them on the shoulder, you are blessed because you can offer a healing touch. If you read this message, if you read this message, you just received a double blessing in that someone was thinking of you. And furthermore, you are more blessed than over 2 billion people in the world who cannot read at all. Have a good day. Count your blessings and remember how blessed we all are. We all are so blessed.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's kind of like it shuts up the victim in us. It's a, oh, wait a minute, I'm not, this is unfair, or whatever. That's what I find. I mean, if you think of what blessings are, and you mentioned, um, A blanket. Did mention a blanket, didn't you?
A
And
comforter,
I
yeah.
had a similar thing too. Um, Years ago, many years ago, when Philip and I met in a spiritual organization, and we actually lived at a kind of a communal place for a while. And I slept on the floor. Sometimes I slept outside on the on the floor. And when when finally I left there, and I had actually a bed to sleep in, and I bought a comforter, and I'll never forget it. It had a one of those sides. One side was kind of a cottony thing, and the other side was all velvety. And I can just remember how comfortable that was, and how grateful I was for that comfortable and a comforter. And that must have been, oh, 40 years ago. But I can still remember lying there in that bed and think, "Wow, this is so great." Just this one thing, just this comforter, and life is good.
Yeah. Just this one thing. I like that. Yeah, it's a just yeah, and I think sometimes that's, just even the smallest things, finding some small thing that you're truly grateful for, can make a
Right.
difference in your day.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be big. It's a vibration.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. And I sometimes say, well, you can be grateful that you have a pen to write with it,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it doesn't take much, but that gets you in a completely different state, which actually then places you in proximity to other things to be grateful
Mhm.
for, and also in closer proximity to beings like the angels and the masters and all of these beautiful beings who are supporting us. And that has been, to me, uh, a real advancement, I would say, in the amount of gratitude I feel, because the angels are so incredibly loving. I'm in awe. It's just like, how can you not be grateful for their presence?
Yeah. 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 And I think it made me think, if I just was listening to a talk earlier today about like how different, how everything is a vibration. And I really like that you were saying, I hadn't really thought of it in that terms, like that gratitude is a vibration. I think that maybe that moves us out of that kind of mass consciousness thinking. It gives us an ability to step beyond um, the norm, and ability to
Mm-hmm.
step above, kind of like, because when I was going through those such deep depressions, literally the best way I could describe it was that life was completely gray. On a really gray day, everything was just monochrome. There was no vibrancy, there was no color. It was just this gray. Um, but that little flower was colored, that
Mm-hmm.
I saw on the
Let me
sidewalk.
stop you for a minute, because
Yeah.
Sharon says she's having a trouble hearing Babs,
Oh.
and I
Hmm.
don't know why that would be. Are you having trouble hearing me too,
I don't know.
Sharon?
Um,
I'm just asking her if she can. I don't know if she can
yeah.
reply.
Is that better?
No, she wasn't having trouble hearing me. So I
Hmm.
guess you just need to speak up.
Just need to speak up. Is that better, Sharon? If I speak up, if I talk louder, sometimes I got my mic.
You're
Maybe I'll
closer
move my
to
mic. Yeah,
whatever.
I've got my
Yeah.
microphone. I'll move closer
Yeah.
to the
Thanks, Sharon.
microphone. Let me know,
Yeah.
Sharon, if that's better or not.
It feels like it's better, but
Okay.
that's
All
a
right.
feeling. I don't know. I mean, I can hear you. Oh, she
Okay.
said no. Well, I guess we just can do the best we can.
Okay. All right.
So
Sorry.
that's life.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything since last week. Let me
Yeah.
quick, I'll go to my audio settings and make sure that let's see. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. Okay. Let's try that. Is that better?
It is. Sharon says
Okay.
better.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
I'm
I hear you
so
better.
sorry.
Well, it's
Okay.
good to know. Thank you for
Yes,
telling us.
thank you for letting us know for
We're
sure.
grateful for.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
grateful.
and I forgot where you were. You'll have to. Can you remember?
I was saying the vibration. So I was talking
Oh,
about
right.
how like that my life was in like a monochrome gray when I was going through the depression part. And there was no color and no vibrancy. And so people who see me now are like, "What? How can that be?" Because like there's something that I'm usually a very vibrant person, but in
Hmm.
that time of my life everything was gray, but that one little flower stood out in color. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's
Yeah.
like moving that vibe, moving up into gratitude takes us out of like that. I think that that mass consciousness that can be just that gray, that just. So I appreciate the fact that you mentioned that it's a different vibration.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
Yeah,
Right, and we can be grateful for small blessings.
yeah.
Another thing that I think is a very important point about gratitude is you can be grateful for the blessings that are coming your way. And this
Mm,
is actually a way of manifesting things because if you're not grateful for where you are and you think, well, gee, things aren't working out and I don't know, kind of just complaining, you're going to attract from that place. Whereas if you're grateful, I'm grateful that we're reaching more people and that people are sharing love with the world and caring about those who are uh, are being misused in the world, or all the different things that are happening. I think we don't actually. It's hard to probably quantify, but I think that probably there are more people who are participating in wanting to create a better world than we know of, because the news is just by its nature focused on what's wrong and not what's right. Not the flower on the road. It's
yeah.
it's the pothole that we're talking about.
Wow.
Let's
Yes.
talk about that pothole.
Yeah.
Right, Bud? He says, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Potholes.
And I
uh,
think for
oh,
me,
go
there was
ahead.
another part of my journey that was where gratitude really was super important. Was I think but maybe people who are listening don't know that I went through breast cancer, and um, it was a matter of choice a lot of times, of choosing to look for the good. There's a saying, to
Mm-hmm.
look for the good, look for what is lovely,
Mm-hmm. Right.
beautiful in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really important part, I think, of that journey. And
Yeah.
even looking at in the big thing of it, I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that time. I'm very grateful even for the previous times of depression and
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, because that
Right.
has caused me to be who I am
Yeah,
today.
right.
And there's,
Exactly. And yeah, opportunities for growth, they are just that. They're opportunities.
yeah,
And of course,
100%.
cancer, you think, well, that's a tough one, and it is. But it's also interesting how many people like you say, well, this is one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, it was a,
And you think, well, how can that be? Well, maybe at that time when it came about, they needed something to shift, to make a shift and see that there is a different reality from the one they were looking at.
yeah. I think what it does, for me at least, it reminded me that, again, once again, like we always that we talk about here, that we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Hmm.
So everything that we go through can be used to grow in that spiritual
Yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
Um,
Everything has meaning.
yeah, yeah. And it doesn't mean that, or I'm not saying that like things are, um, what's the right word, that they're like morally right or good, but everything can be used to grow and to, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah,
learn.
and you look at some of the trauma that people experience in the world, and I
Yeah,
can't say what it is for each person who has to go through. Well, like people who are experiencing war right now.
yeah,
There's some real hot spots in the world, and
yeah,
and it is tragic, and certainly it is. It is painful to the heart. Um, and also, I felt something I felt with 9/11, and I don't always ask exactly what it is that people are experiencing, but I have the sense sometimes with those mass events that souls are volunteering to go through that as a demonstration for humanity.
hmm, yeah,
And it is a really noble, a noble thing that they're doing. If
yeah,
that's what it takes to wake up humanity, and they're willing to play a part in that way, um, I think that's something to be honored. And just to understand that on some level, everything does happen for a reason,
yeah,
and why ever it is. And that doesn't mean also that it's right that, well, we just ignore people who are suffering because they volunteered for it.
right.
That's not the idea. The idea is to recognize that there are many very strong souls who volunteer to show humans, how what is actually happening in the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that we can focus on changing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did want to draw an angel card,
Okay.
and this is something for anyone who is not really tuned into angels. I highly recommend it. I think I was not in a low place when I started exploring angels. It was something that came as a suggestion to me from above. Um, but the experience of them is so profound. And the love is, I think the love of from them and other beings of light like the ascended masters, it it just is, I think it's beyond our comprehension almost. And I feel it does make me feel great gratitude, which I express every day for sure to them. I start the day expressing my gratitude to them because I know that they're with me and they're supporting me in so many amazing ways.
It's awesome.
So actually before we started, I had the sense that there were angels all around us who were supporting us already, which I think is true.
Yeah.
And when we get together in an experience like this, um, there are beings of light who are here around us supporting it. Sharon said something here. Yesterday, a lady gifted me with a beaded Ukraine support
Mm.
bracelet. Grateful for her continued concern and the constant reminder. Yeah, that's beautiful. And beautiful that people are standing up like that and pointing out these things. So here we have a card.
All right.
And there are different decks. This is a new one.
Ah.
Um, Philip, I may have talked about it in the circle. I'm not sure. It's called Female Archangels Oracle
Oh,
Cards.
yeah.
And the thing with a deck of cards like this is you can just draw a card
Mhm.
in the morning or whenever and see who's asked for who's here for you today,
Yeah.
to support you, and voila, you have something. It says female archangels, which I think is great because we hear so much about Michael and
Right.
Raphael and all these strong male figures.
Mhm.
There are equal, each one has a divine complement, as we do, and they are all equally wonderful. So this deck of cards has the female archangels and their complements. So this
Okay.
card I drew may be a male or female. I don't know which it is,
All right.
but it
Let's
is
see.
whoever is here for us now.
Yeah.
Interesting. Archangel Zadkiel, who is he's associated with Saint Germain and the Violet Flame, which is has always been a real delight to me. And the card says, strengthen your boundaries. I think that's interesting when you think in terms of gratitude. Like, what do we allow?
Mm.
What do we allow ourselves to complain about?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's too cold this morning. Is it? Yeah. Blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. How
When
much
it could
attention
be,
do we pay to our
um,
mind? Yeah.
I'm grateful that I'm alive again this morning. I woke up and it's a great day. And here
Yeah.
comes Buddy again. Okay, come on. So I'm going to look up Zadkiel here and read a little bit about what it says. In this deck has its own messages from each of the archangels. And
Okay.
they also, by the way, they are together. So the archangel who is associated with Zadkiel is called Purity, cleanse and detoxify. Archangel Purity.
Hmm.
Um, so for Zadkiel, it says Archangel Zadkiel, whose name reflects righteousness, serves on the violet ray of transformation and surrender with his counterpart, Archaea. They call them Archaea, which is a kind of an obscure term to me. Purity. Zadkiel guides that you're a natural empath. And so be aware of the opinions, judgments, and influence of others.
Mm.
Apply discernment and set boundaries to keep your energy fresh and aligned to your truth. Having boundaries doesn't mean that you have to separate yourself from the world. Having boundaries is honoring who you are. Remember, not everyone needs or wants help, despite you feeling otherwise. Enabling another always disables their own growth. You can positively influence them by caring enough for your own vibration first.
Hmm.
That's beautiful. And we have a couple more comments here. Carolina Lynn says, replying to Sharon Williamson, um, something about a friend request. I'm not sure. And she also, I guess, those are more personal messages about friend requests.
There you go. Can you read? I just have a sense. Can you just read the purity, at least a little bit on the purity one also?
Yes.
It just feels like that might be also important for
And
us.
the female archangels, a lot of them, or most all of them, have names like hope. They're like
Mm,
qualities, like
yeah.
archangel. I call her Archangel Purity. Archangel Purity, whose name is derived from the Old French purite, Purete, meaning truth, serves on the violet ray of transformation and surrender with her counterpart, Archangel Zadkiel. Purity um, is one of the highest angels. Her love for humanity has no bounds.
Mm,
Purity is helping you to get real with your feelings.
mhm,
Instead of fleeing or denying them, she guides you to ask, what is the positive? This is interesting. What is the
mhm,
positive learning and understanding of the situation?
mhm.
Which is
Yeah,
what we were talking about too, is how do I interpret what's happening to me?
yeah.
Purity carries the violet flame of transmutation, which cleanses and raises consciousness.
Mm,
In recent years, silver, gold, and magenta light have been revealed within its fire. See the violet flame surrounding you, your home, finances, and relationships to transform lower energies into renewed vibrancy.
mhm.
So maybe this this is kind of where the meditation comes from, is the
Yeah,
insights that we receive um,
yeah, for sure.
from our oracle readings. So that's really beautiful. And um, here's the picture of Archangel Zadkiel, very violet.
Okay.
What I really like to do, and you have to, with these cards, you have to get kind of a close up. Um, I
Mm,
like to look into their eyes
mm,
and
mhm.
connect. I can connect with them. It's like they are here with me.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Just all that. I like it also. To me, it's like violet with sparkles in
Yeah, yeah, I love
it.
it. I
I
love it.
always talk about sparkles. And I do
Mhm,
think sparkles, I like, they are kind of sparkly, but I also think that they break up stuff,
mhm.
and clear up stuff. So I think
Yeah,
they
yeah,
play a very
for sure.
positive role for us.
Yeah.
I also wanted to draw a card from uh, another oracle deck to go with this, but I'm getting to maybe do it afterwards, after the
Okay.
meditation, if that
Yeah,
feels good. So,
yeah.
was that helpful for you to?
Yeah, I really felt like I think for me personally it was like the shift to the purity one
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like even with the name it's like again the way that we think through things, the way that are we using our human mind, which is important to do tasks and write papers and do things, but not to set the guidance for our life, so sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I think that like that purity is kind of thinking rightly, being able to have help in um, what we're listening to in our minds. Are we choosing gratitude? Are we choosing all that negativity that can kind of pop up, and allowing that negativity? It's there. It just needs to be cleared. We store negative, we store negative experiences, and they come up, and
Right.
they need to get cleared,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Right.
choosing to think rightly. I have this one saying that says, first thought wrong. So a lot of times we just have a first thought that pops up, and that first thought is not necessarily, it's not truth. It's just an old reaction or an old
Right.
something that pops up off in our
Mm-hmm.
brain. And
Right.
and what happens is we get caught off with that instead of just saying, "Oh, first thought wrong. I don't need to go with that thought." You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Just because you have it doesn't mean you have to listen to
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. So that's I think part of that. And I wonder if
it.
that's one of the pieces that purity helps us with is to when you were reading that part about where it talks about looking through a situation rightly or whatever, however you worded that. I think that that's really important and key.
Hmm. Right. To see that there's a blessing in everything. We
Yeah.
may not also we may not know what it is now.
Correct.
Like I think for you having cancer,
Yeah.
if you're looking, well, this certainly isn't something I was expecting or asking for,
No.
but I'm still going to have a positive
100%.
perspective and I'm going to gain something from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also something I do myself whenever I think of it in difficult situations, is this is going to come out. My intention is it's going to come out better than I expected, and look for the better than I expected result.
Yeah.
So why not? We are, and that's the thing. We are creators, and we're creating with the way that we think about things and respond to things, and what we're vibrating, like gratitude energy, that's
Yeah.
so beneficial to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heather Collins is here. She says that card speaks to me because I am finally realizing I am an empath and need to set boundaries.
Mm. Nice.
And I think it mentioned in the uh, little guidebook there that uh, those of us who are healers, who are in this kind of space, probably most of us, if not all of us, are empathic. We're picking up energy,
Yes.
and then a lot of times we don't know how to do that.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And Nikki said I had breast cancer as well. It was a major wake up call.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And I think I know Nikki and Sharon and we're in the same age range, mature, I call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think in that age range, most of us have had some
Something.
challenges.
Yeah. For
So,
sure.
yeah. So, time for the meditation.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So, we can start if you're in a place where it's safe and you feel guided to do so. You can close your eyes and we can breathe in love and light from Zadkiel and purity, archangels, beautiful archangels, and all of them have the archangels all have around them a host of angels who support them. And I felt before we started, even as I suggested, that there's a host of angels who are supporting us, and I feel also want us to know about their presence today. So, as we breathe, just taking that opportunity to raise our vibration because we want to be able to meet them halfway. And if we're feeling gratitude, we're certainly getting there for sure. But just breathing in more of the love and light that surround us from these beautiful, beautiful beings who are supporting us. And as you exhale, releasing any energy, a lot of times that's not your own, as Heather was suggesting. A lot of times we're dealing with energy that's not even ours. So just ask any energy that is not your own, that's in your space, which is vibrationally around your body, anywhere in that ball of light around you that is your energy field. Just send it all back where it came from. Other people, other times, other places. Just send it all back. And what that does is creates more space as you breathe in love and light, more space for your own light to enter. And similarly, we leave bits of ourselves in other places and other times, other people. Just bring any energy of your own that you can back to you now in this moment. And as you do these two very simple things, you might notice that you feel more present and like there's more of you here in the moment, because there is. And that's a beautiful thing. Just this one thing or two things, just doing this much, you can benefit from a very short meditation, maybe a 1 minute, your 1 minute meditation. And of course, if you add opening to the love you feel in your heart, breathing light, more light into that space of love in your heart. That there's a flame of love, could say a little spark in some, and that we can build, send more energy to that love in our hearts and allow it to expand and grow around us. So you can feel that love in all of the cells of your body. And the cells love love, of course. And then radiating out, filling your whole energy field. And maybe you can feel it expanding out. We contract ourselves too because we feel like we have to fit in for whatever reason. Now you can just be yourself and allow your own energy to expand. And breathing in lighter energy, we're just going to allow ourselves to drift upwards into the areas around the clouds and stars and where the angels are, where we can just imagine ourselves communing and maybe soaring with the angels or maybe resting on a cloud with them, just sensing that angelic presence all around us. And with Archangel Zadkiel and his archangel partner, Purity, just inviting that violet light around us too, which it will help us to clear out anything that may be holding us back that we couldn't clear out just by breathing into it, because the violet flame light is one of the most powerful transmutive forces around. Beautiful for sending it, just imagine sending it into energetically all of the spaces of where energy is moving in our body. And what we want to do is allow it to be freer so that we have more energy. So that violet flame energy, the violet light can clear it out. We can imagine the sparkles and the golden colors that were suggested. Maybe pinks and lilacs, just the most perfect naturing, beautiful, or nurturing, beautiful violet kind of energy, often also connected with amethyst, the stone amethyst. You can imagine the colors, all the colors of an amethyst. And of course, again, with the amethyst, the sparkle of white light at the end of the points on it. So we're here communing with the angels and welcoming in that beautiful transmuting violet light. It's like alchemy, turning lead into gold, turning dark into light. And it feels also like they have a gift for each one of us. Or maybe you may in your mind notice an angel approaching you with a gift. And hold out your hand and receive it, or however you can receive it, just in whatever way is perfect for you. And for me, I see a star. It's a beautiful star in my hand. It's kind of like that sparkle, a representation of that sparkling light. And as we express our gratitude towards them, you may notice them expressing their love and gratitude towards you as well, because they are very grateful for those of us who are standing up for love, who are sending love out into our communities and our world. And just feel the simplicity of the moment also. You kind of, from this elevated spot, you can kind of imagine and in your mind's eye see all the people rushing around, rushing to go somewhere other than where they are. Like the future is going to get them to the place where the grass is greener when actually it's golden right now. Golden meaning every moment is a rich experience, or can be, if we open to the divine. And we can also take a moment just to focus on feeling the depth of their love for us. You may also sense your own guides and other masters and beings of light around you who you know are here with you. But just feel the enormity of that love for each one of us and for humanity. And realize it's always here. We're the ones, humans, who are so often absent. And I sense little buddy here just taking it all in. He's had a tough life too. He's a rescue boy from a junkyard, literally, where he was out in the cold at night. So, with that, again, just remember all that love. And we can take this opportunity to express our gratitude and our love. We can say, I love you too. And I'm so grateful. And as we prepare to come back to our normal waking states, can also realize we don't have to leave the vibration of this behind. We're just coming back into our bodies, into the moment. So just imagine now that you're returning, feeling your feet on the floor, grounded, and opening to your normal waking state. It's a different frequency. And again, bringing back everything that was beneficial from this experience and whatever gift was given. And just breathing in that active energy. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Buddy feels so peaceful. Oh, sweetie pie. He says, yes, that was beautiful.
That was. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I don't even know there's too much spinning there, not spinning, but too much to even kind of articulate. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have to either.
Yeah. It's just is, yeah, just the experience. Yeah. It was,
Sharon Williamson's, she says, the colors of the hummingbird outside my window right now.
uh,
She's experiencing that. And that's interesting too. The birds, I always view them as intermediaries between heaven and earth. I love to feed the birds in our yard, and we have
yeah.
hummingbird feeders. Then
Yeah.
I go out and sit near the hummingbird feeder, and they come around and they have that chirping sound they
They
make.
do.
It's so
They do.
interesting. And they'll just kind of be there in front of me, like, oh, look.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
there
have,
are
we have
so
a
many
few.
miraculous things all around us. We don't notice them a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's those eyes to see,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we can imagine, of course, all of this love going out to the world from us.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And knowing that it's just so obviously the solution.
Yeah.
We look, it's kind of like we think hard, like, I need to do this and this and this to change the world. Just vibrate love. If everybody was vibrating love,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have any of the problems we have right now.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
couldn't,
Yeah.
because people would love each other and the environment and everything else.
True. Very true. And it makes me think of Rumi, writes. He was a Persian mystic,
Mm-hmm.
a poet, and he writes about how often we seek for love outside of us, but what we really need to be doing is seeking for all the blocks of love, the blocks that we have set up within ourselves, letting go of the blocks blocks
Mm-hmm.
to love that we have already inside of ourselves, because all the love is in here already. It's all. I mean, there's nothing outside that we have to seek. Um, it's
Right.
just
It's in
we've
our
blocked
hearts. Right.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times there are reasons. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we can
Yes.
honor those reasons.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
people
yeah.
have just
Oh,
energetically cages around their hearts to protect their hearts because they've been
correct.
criticized or tortured or whatever it is.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Nikki commented, she says, that was one of the few times I have truly felt the angels and intense love and gratitude. Wow, it's powerful. Oh, I'm so glad, Nikki, because it is.
Yeah.
I think it's really, to me, I just, sometimes I'm in wonder, like, is it possible, that this is real? And it is.
Yeah. And it can be different, like Nikki, it can be different every time. Like we,
Right.
because sometimes there's more of a sense of that felt connection, but that doesn't mean that the reality isn't there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that, yeah, it can be different every time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not to judge ourselves.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, obviously, for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. I don't feel like we need another card.
Okay, perfect. Good.
It feels
Yeah,
feels like just feels like it's complete to me.
yeah, great.
And it is, I think, really in the end, that's what we want, is to get in that place where there's nothing that could or needs to be said.
Mhm.
And just thank Archangel Zadkiel and Archaea Purity
Yeah,
and all of the angels around us.
yeah.
So, any final thoughts from you?
Hmm. Um, just to remind people, I mean, that they're loved. And there's never any, like what we had talked about earlier, that there's never a time when we're not part of that oneness. We're not part of that whole.
Right,
Um,
right.
and just gratitude is a tool that we can use to remind ourselves of that truth, that is
Mm-hmm.
always within us, and that gratitude can help us, um, yeah, access that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a, to me, it's an invitation to come to the circle often, because
Mhm.
I feel like, personally, I probably get as much or maybe more than most people from
Yeah.
the circle, and it is really for each of us
Hmm.
to just open to the experience, because I think that it is the group energy too that makes it. Nikki mentioned that it was so powerful and intense.
Hmm.
I think for me too, some of the most powerful and intense experiences that I have of these beautiful beings are happen in the circle,
Yeah.
and I'm just grateful for the support, of all the people who are with us
Yeah.
now and through time
Yeah.
and space.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
yeah. So, would you like to share a little bit about how people can learn more about you, Babs?
Yeah, sure. The best way to get in touch with me is through my website, which is purplelotuscollective.com. So purplelotuscollective.com, all strung together. Yeah.
Right.
And I am, like Jane said, a minister, a senior minister from Awakenings Institute, and I help people on their journeys, on their journeys as spiritual journeys, and also work with folks who've been hurt by the traditional church,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and to be able to have some healing in that area, and move beyond some of those limiting beliefs, that we've carried from some old programming,
Mm-hmm.
and just love to help people, coaching and meditation and stuff like that. So yeah, you can
Right.
get in touch with
Wonderful.
me at purplelotuscollective.com.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for Philip and me at Awakenings Institute, our part of Awakenings Institute, we have a free resource kit for light workers, spiritual healers, and spiritual seekers, way showers, however you look at yourself. Um, and there are a number of things there we're preparing now. Also, we're going to have a whole course teaching about the archangels starting in January, part of a 1 year, what's going to be in the beginning of a new 1 year program that we're doing. So if you sign up for the free resource kit. You'll also get updates on how to find out more about that, because that, like this experience, it's something where the collective brings so much energy to whatever it is that we're experiencing together, and the archangels just again, what can you say? Anyhow, I'm going to give you a tiny URL, tinyurl.com/spiritual dash kit. We also have a book, a free book. It's like a no strings attached. Please share it with your friends, and especially people maybe who wouldn't think of reading it. And it's called The Solution: Make a Difference and Change the World with the Power of Love. That's tinyurl.com/444. That's the number 4, 3 times dash solution. tinyurl.com/444-solution. And please, please, please join us again if you feel guided in your heart. We certainly welcome you, and really appreciate your addition to the vibration that we're creating collectively. Also, to support the circle, you can follow our page on Facebook. It's at facebook.com/awakenings circle. That's one thing, Awakenings Circle. You can share the video with your friends and share the love, and invite friends to join you in the circle. Maybe you'll have something to talk about that is life enhancing. So with that, the final thing we do is send that love, that light, the beautiful appreciation of the angels, and just the invitation for them to be with us. Send it out to the week ahead. So imagine filling your week ahead with divine love and light, angelic energy. And I sense them pouring their love into our futures now. Something actually I hadn't thought of doing, just pour angelic love in there with everything else. And of course, have a wonderful week. And thanks again for joining us.